Welcome to our channel. Today, we dive into one of the most bizarre and fascinating chapters of Australian history, the Great Emu War of 1932. Yes, you heard that right. Australia once waged a war against emus, and it's a tale you won't want to miss. Let's get started. In the early 1930s, Australia was grappling with the aftermath of the Great Depression. Many World War I veterans had been given land in Western Australia to farm, part of a government initiative to boost agricultural production and provide for returning soldiers. However, life was tough. The land was often marginal and poorly suited for farming, and droughts made it even more difficult to grow crops. Then, as if things weren't hard enough, an unexpected enemy arrived: emus. These large, flightless birds, native to Australia, are known for their impressive speed and size, standing up to 6 feet tall and capable of running at 50 kilometers per hour. As they migrated from inland areas to the coast, they descended upon the farmland in massive numbers, attracted by the newly cultivated fields. Around 20,000 emus saw the fields as an abundant food source and began wreaking havoc on the crops, devouring wheat and trampling over valuable farmland. The farmers, desperate to protect their livelihoods and already struggling financially, turned to the government for help. They demanded action to protect their crops from the relentless emu invasion. The emu invasion. The scale of the emu invasion was unprecedented. Emus are highly social birds and often move in large flocks. When they arrived in the farming areas, they created chaos. The birds not only ate the crops but also damaged the infrastructure. Fences meant to keep out rabbits were no match for the emus, which simply knocked them over or jumped them with ease. The emu invasion added to the already significant challenges faced by the farmers, who were dealing with economic depression, poor soil, and inadequate rainfall. Farmers, armed with rifles, tried to fend off the birds, but their efforts were in vain. The sheer number of emus overwhelmed their attempts. The situation was dire, and something drastic had to be done. The military intervention. Enter the Australian military. The farmers' pleas for help reached the ears of Sir George Pearce, the Minister of Defence. Pearce, sympathetic to the farmers' plight and perhaps eager for a practical demonstration of the military's capabilities, approved a military operation to tackle the emu problem. In November 1932, soldiers armed with Lewis guns, a type of light machine gun, and a truck were dispatched to Western Australia. The operation was led by Major GPW Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery. The plan was straightforward: use the military's firepower to kill as many emus as possible, thereby reducing their numbers and protecting the crops. It seemed like a logical solution at the time. The soldiers were confident that their training and weaponry would easily handle the emu threat. The battle begins. The first encounter with the emus took place on November 2nd, 1932. The soldiers set up an ambush near a dam where about 50 emus had been spotted. However, the birds quickly scattered, making them difficult targets. Despite the soldiers' efforts, only a few emus were killed. The first day was a clear indication that this was not going to be an easy task. Over the next few days, the soldiers continued their efforts. On November 4th, they set up another ambush. This time, they encountered around 1,000 emus. The soldiers opened fire, but again, the emus scattered and fled in all directions. The Lewis guns, designed for stationary targets in war, proved ineffective against the swift and agile emus. On one notable occasion, the soldiers mounted one of the guns on a truck, hoping to chase down the birds. However, the rough terrain made it impossible to aim accurately, and the gun eventually jammed. The emus once again escaped unscathed. The struggle continues. The operation continued for several weeks with mixed results. The emus proved to be remarkably resilient and adaptable. They quickly learned to avoid areas where the soldiers were present and changed their movement patterns to stay out of range. The soldiers, frustrated by the birds' cunning and speed, managed to kill about 1,000 emus, but this was a small fraction of the total population. Reports from the field described the emus as incredibly tough. Many birds could take multiple bullets and keep running, making them difficult to bring down. The soldiers also faced logistical challenges. The vast, open landscapes of Western Australia made it hard to corner the emus, and the Lewis guns, while powerful, were not suited for such a mobile and dispersed target. The aftermath and outcome. By early December, it was clear that the military intervention was not achieving its objectives. The government decided to withdraw the troops, and the Great Emu War was officially declared a failure. Major Meredith later commented on the emus' remarkable resilience, noting that they could take significant damage and still keep moving. The farmers, left to their own devices, continued to struggle with the emu problem. The failure of the military intervention highlighted the need for better pest control measures and more effective agricultural policies. It also sparked debate about the use of military resources for such operations. In the years that followed, the government introduced a bounty system to encourage the culling of emus, and improved fencing techniques were developed to protect crops. While these measures helped, the memory of the Great Emu War remained as a somewhat humorous and cautionary tale. The long-term effects. The Great Emu War, despite its failure, had some long-term effects on Australian agriculture and pest control policies. It underscored the challenges of dealing with wildlife in farming areas and the need for more sustainable and effective solutions. Today, emus are still present in Australia, but they are managed through a combination of modern agricultural practices and conservation efforts. The Great Emu War is remembered as a quirky and unique event in history, often cited as an example of how even the best-laid plans can go awry. The Great Emu War stands as a reminder of the unexpected challenges that can arise and the resilience of both humans and nature. It's a story of ingenuity, persistence, and sometimes sheer absurdity. If you enjoyed this tale of Australia's unusual battle, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more intriguing stories from history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.